All right, here we are in the 2026 Honda Passport Trail Sport. It's a lot of sports going on. Trail Sport, Passport, Trail Sport. Anyways, we're in the new Passport, fully redesigned for 2026. Looks way different than it did before. Very rugged, very cool looking. Probably one of the best looking new Hondas on the market right now. This Sunset Orange 2 color is very vibrant. They do have a nice ash green, and that would be the color I would go for if I was buying one of these things. The first big plus from this Passport over the Pilot I just drove, that was also a Trail Sport, is this nice 12.3 inch touchscreen, and it has Google built in as well. This screen really should be in the Pilot. But let's go over the basics here. All the Passports come with a 3.5 liter V6, which makes 285 horsepower and 262 pound-feet of torque. Exact same numbers as the Pilot. It is a 10-speed automatic transmission. And in Canada here, because we can only get the Trail Sport, they all come with this off-road tuned suspension and Honda's i4 VTM all-wheel drive system. Now the pricing starts at $60,000 here in Canada, which is pretty steep. In the US, it starts at about $44,000 with your RTL trim. In the US, you have an RTL, RTL towing, RTL blackout, then you have the Trail Sport blackout, Trail Sport Elite, and then the Trail Sport Elite blackout. So in this Passport Trail Sport, we do have 8.3 inches of ground clearance, metal steel skid plates, these all-terrain General Grabber tires, which were made specifically for this Passport. But yeah, let's hop outside and take a look at the exterior, because that is probably the coolest part of this vehicle. Before we take a look at the outside of this Passport, let's give a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Cars.ca. If you're in Canada and looking for your next vehicle, maybe even a Honda Passport, you've got to check out Cars.ca. It's a hassle-free way to shop for cars without the spammy ads or the endless logins. In fact, Cars.ca is completely login free, so you can browse, compare, and track vehicles without giving away your email or personal info. They use cookies instead of accounts, so you can keep tabs on vehicles or watch for your preferred specs to come into stock, all without worrying about getting flooded with emails. If you're in the market for a new vehicle here in Canada, make sure to check out Cars.ca. Finding your perfect vehicle just got easier. All right, it is a beautiful day, and this Passport Trail Sport for 2026 is a huge change. This thing looks amazing. Way different from the previous generation. This is Orange Sunset 2. Apparently there was an Orange Sunset 1, but I guess this is the updated version of Orange for Honda. We have really nice amber daytime running lights. I love those lights. And when you put your four-ways or your emergency flashers on, they just get a little bit brighter. At the front here, we have 3 functional grills. So 1, 2, and then 3. And this is all for show. This goes nowhere, which is kind of a bummer, but it does make the car look pretty cool. It's definitely got some Dodge Ram vibes going. I know some people have compared it to a Raptor, but I think it looks more like a Dodge Ram, especially with those daytime running lights. Really nice. That's not a knock at all. You can see your Trail Sport badging right there, and then they have Passport stamped right into the front here. Here's how the Passport looks with its full LED headlights on, and as you can see, we do have LED fog lights too. And then you can see your tow hooks down here in orange. Those look really cool. Really, really good design. I like the front end. And they've done a pretty good job at hiding this little camera. I didn't even notice it until now. So to the side here, you can see I've made the tires nice and dirty. These are General Grabber all-terrain tires. They are 18-inch rims. If you get that blackout package, then this sort of gray accent will be black. The plastic cladding around the vehicle is actually a nice thickness. It's not too insane where it sometimes can look cheap. That looks really nice. This trim also has power mirrors, and you do get keyless entry on both doors. Up on the roof, you've got nice roof rails, and you can actually get a basket for up there. There's a lot of cool off-road accessories. All right, so at the rear here, I see a few different vehicles. I see Honda Element, and I also see Ford Explorer for sure. You've got more Trail Sport badging back here, and then you do have Passport stamped again, and all Trail Sports come with a tow hitch, and you can tow about 5,000 pounds. All right, styling. So what do you think about the design on the Honda Passport? Well, 350 of you voted across Instagram and YouTube, and 83% of those votes approve of the design on this Passport, which is up considerably from the 4Runner Limited I had a couple months ago, which only got a 62% approval rating. So there you go. People seem to like this Passport over the 4Runner. Now, it might have been the Limited. I just had a TRD Pro, which I think you'll upvote a lot more than the Limited one. Okay, so here we are in the interior of the Passport Trail Sport. Very similar to the Pilot Trail Sport I was just in. However, notably pretty cool Passport stamp right there. And of course, this 12.3-inch touchscreen is a big upgrade from what you get in the Pilot. This screen does have a Google built in. You've got your Google Maps there, Google Assistant, and then this does have wireless Apple CarPlay, wireless Android Auto. The wireless CarPlay looks like this on the screen here. Now, unlike the Pilot Trail Sport we get in Canada, this comes with the multi-view camera, which is really nice. I didn't have this on the Trail Sport Pilot I had a couple weeks ago, or probably 2 months ago now. I'm really far behind on editing these videos, but this is how it looks. You've got a 360 view right there, and this comes in handy when you're doing trails and stuff. If you've been in the new Honda Accord, it's pretty much the same setup. You've got your Google Assistant over here. You can swap between different widgets, and then your menu looks like this. So it's pretty simple, and I like it. It's pretty easy to use. Throughout the vehicle, you'll notice this topography design in some of the storage compartments. It's got like a grippy, it's a nice material, keeps things from moving around. I love that Honda puts grippy material for their wireless charger, because I don't put a phone case on my phone because I'm crazy and my phone doesn't fly around, which is really nice. Really well thought out storage. Lots of cup holders everywhere. We've got really nice, comfortable seats. This driver's side has lumbar support. Unfortunately, the passenger doesn't get it. And unfortunately, the passenger can't raise or lower their seat. I don't know what it is about Honda with raising and lowering the passenger seat, but they don't like to put it in. Speaking of seats, we do have ventilated seats and we do have heated seats. And these ventilated seats have been great today on such a hot day. It's like 30 degrees Celsius out there. We've got this nice Trail Sport badging on the headrest too. The air conditioning works really, really well, and it's so simple and easy to use. And if you want to change the temperature in the rear, you just hit rear settings, and that will adjust the temperature back there. Typical Honda steering wheel, we've got our cruise control settings over here and our lane centering and all that, and then our music controls and phone controls over here on the left. We do have a heated steering wheel in this Trail Sport, and we do have a Trail Sport badge at the bottom here. It's got this nice orange stitching throughout and some paddle shifters at the back. And this has the same driver's display as pretty much every modern Honda going right now, with the exception, I didn't see this on the Pilot because it didn't have the Google built-in, but you can throw your map up there, so that's pretty cool. You've got a pretty interesting design around the cup holders, and it does go through the door as well. Makes it stand out a little bit. I'm not a fan of how the gear selector looks. I would just prefer a normal gear shifter. In practice though, this is very easy to use. I just don't really like how it looks. And we've got a bunch of drive modes. We've got Sport, Normal, Econ, Snow, Trail, Sand, and Tow. Then we've got our auto start stop, hill descent, and brake hold. The center armrest here is nice. It has pretty good padding, and there is a ton of storage underneath. Back in the second row, it is very comfortable, tons of space, lots of leg room, lots of headroom. I'm 5'10" in case you're wondering. It's very open and airy, especially with this glass roof. Really nice. The windows are all really big. You do have sunshades to block the sun if you need to. We've got cup holders galore. We've got 2 here, 2 in this door panel, 2 in that door panel, and then 2 on both the front doors as well. I mean, you could fit water bottles for days in here. It's really nice. The seats are pretty comfortable. They are fixed, so they do not recline back and forth. We've got storage in both seats here, and then 2 pockets at the top, which is pretty cool. You can stick a phone here and just watch something on your phone. I would feel really comfortable on a long journey back here. This is pretty nice. Now we do have 3 increments of heated seats back here. We do have our HVAC controls, 2 USB-Cs, and a 150 watt or 115 volt plug. And the floor back here is flat, so it's really easy to just shuffle around if you have to. All right, so let's open the cargo area here. So in the back behind the second row, you've got 44 cubic feet of cargo space, but there's actually some other cool features. You do have another little spot here. I've been using this for groceries, but this is for like a full-size spare tire if you're taking this off-road. And then you do have a compact spare tire underneath here as well. So back here we have a 115 volt or 150 watt plug. And then this button's actually pretty cool because when you press it, it goes green, and then it waits for you to leave, and then it shuts. It's pretty neat. Haven't seen that really in any other vehicle. Lots of good storage space in here. You can fit a lot of things in these compartments. It's a very, very practical vehicle. Unfortunately, there is no way to get the second row down from back here, so that would have been nice.
but you just got to do it from the second row.
Once you have all the seats down, you have 83.8 cubic feet of cargo capacity. It's a lot of space. It's very close to the Pilot in terms of how much space you get. And then once you have those seats down, they fold really flat. That is a good amount of cargo space for the Passport. So here on this dirt gravel road, it's feeling pretty good. Feels very controlled. I feel like I can go decently quick and not feel like I'm gonna lose control. So it's a good package. It is a lot of money, $60,000+ Canadian here, but at least you have the V6. So you know this is probably going to be reliable compared to some of these turbocharged 4-cylinders or hybrid 4-cylinders where we just don't know exactly how reliable those are going to be over the long run. All right, so how does this 3.5-liter V6 feel? It sounds great, that's for sure. Just like my Honda Pilot video, I kept going on about how nice this engine sounds, but it doesn't feel like the fastest thing in the world for sure. It feels very similar to that 4Runner Limited that I had a couple weeks ago. That's a turbocharged 4-cylinder, 2.4 liter. This is a 3.5 liter V6. They make about the same horsepower, but this definitely has a nicer sound to it. The 4Runner, they definitely plumb in some enhanced sounds. If you want to go quick in this, you're going to put it in sport, and then you're going to hit down the S mode, and then yeah, great sounding V6. Now, just like the Pilot, it sounds like it's going way faster than it is. It does not feel like a fast vehicle, but it's adequate. When you're on the highway, it definitely feels like it has enough passing power. It's kind of from a standstill. It doesn't feel super fast, but it's really all it needs to be. Now, everybody wants to compare this to the 4Runner. The 4Runner is like a true 4x4 and body on frame. It's more like a truck. This is a unibody construction, so they do feel different when you're driving them, for sure. While the steering is nice and light, it does tighten up a little bit in sport mode here. And it doesn't feel too bad. I mean, it's a big, heavy vehicle, so it's not going to feel like spectacular, but they did a pretty good job at making this thing feel pretty light and nimble. Now, this Passport has really good lane centering. Very similar to something like Hyundai and Kia. They have really good lane centering. You can actually get the lane centering to work without cruise control. Not a lot of brands do this yet, where you can have lane centering without cruise control on. So this is kind of a cool thing. In the cabin, it is pretty quiet in here. You hear the all-terrain tires a little bit, but it's pretty minimal. Visibility for the most part is pretty good in this vehicle. The C-pillar is pretty large, but you've got all the safety systems. I haven't had any issues with blind spots this week at all. So in terms of fuel economy, what am I getting? Well, actually very similar to what that turbocharged 4-cylinder in the 4Runner was getting. I'm getting about 13 liters per 100 kilometers in this Passport. It was averaging 12 when I picked it up before I switched it, and I've been driving it kind of hard for these shots that I'm getting in the video. So around 12 to 13 liters per 100 kilometers is probably what you can expect. The fuel tank size is exactly the same as the Pilot, 70 liters or about 18.5 gallons. And it cost me about $72 to fill it from just about empty. I had about 80 kilometers left in the tank. So you can expect between $70 to $80 to fill this thing up. That's Canadian. All right, so this does have hill descent. I'm on a very, very lame hill. I don't have any real steep hills to try this on, but it's keeping me at 3 kilometers an hour. And this would be good if you were on a really steep incline. But you know what? I don't really have any steep inclines, so that's as cool of a demonstration as I can give you. So how does all of this off-roady stuff translate to just normal country road driving or driving in the city, well, it's actually great. This suspension is so smooth and soft. It just kind of bounces. It feels very, very forgiving. And this road usually feels terrible in a lot of cars, and it feels really, really nice. So I have driven this on the highway, I've driven this in the city, I've driven on country roads. It is a joy to drive. The seats are very comfortable, really good for long drives. You've got a lot of space back there in the second row, a lot of storage everywhere. So throughout the week, I've had a number of people come up to me and say they really like the look of this Passport. It seems to draw quite a bit of attention, especially in this bright orange. I think it's a great package overall. It's just the price, but that's like Hondas and Toyotas. They're so expensive now. You really are paying for that reliability factor. Like when I had the Pilot, it feels like a very no-fuss vehicle. You're not going to worry too much about getting this dirty like you would with something like a CX-70, where that's kind of a pretty car. And it's great that they put the screen from the Accord in here, because the one in the Pilot is definitely not adequate for that vehicle because it looks tiny. And in here, this looks right. Anyways, thanks again to Cars.ca for sponsoring this video, and thanks for watching all the way to the end. And yeah, we'll see you soon.